Caitlyn Jenner honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs. Did she deserve it? Was it the right choice? Here she was last night on ABC. Take a look.
All across the world, at this very moment, there are young people coming to terms with being transgender. They're learning that they're different, and they're trying to figure out how to handle that on top of every other problem that a teenager has. They're getting bullied. They're getting beaten up. They're getting murdered. And they're committing suicide. But this transition has been harder on me than anything I could imagine. And that's the case for so many others besides me. For that reason alone, trans people deserve something vital. They deserve your respect. I'd like to thank, personally, my buddy Diane. So, you know, you can only tell your story the first time once, and Diane, you did it so authentically and so gracefully.
Joining me now in the audience, Shagun Oduolowu, entertainment journalist, Zoey Tur, pilot and reporter who herself is transgender, and Ben Shapiro, senior editor, Breitbart News, author of Bullies. Ben, did she deserve this award?
For what?
For courageously coming forward, for having been an athlete of great prowess and now fighting a new battle.
What exactly is the battle? I mean, self-definition is what you do, and my baby's doing it at 18 months old. I wasn't aware that you get a medal for it.
Shagun?
I think she's a fraud. I thought the message and the messenger were wrong. I was in the audience at the ESPYs, and if you want to talk about courage, she said it herself in her speech that she retreated to her mansion in the Hill and was... Where was she in the 70s when the LGBT community was fighting for acceptance? Where was she in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic was ravaging the LGBT community?
She was hiding, feeling bad about being transgender.
Where was she in the 90s when shows like 90210, Melrose Place, and Will and Grace were bringing gay people to the forefront? Where was she in 2000?
She couldn't come forward yet.
My thing is this. She's a 65-year-old rich white woman that decided to do this, but don't tell me you're walking in the truth for other transgender kids of color who don't have that war chest of money to get the surgery to look like she looks. They're not going to get the cover of Vanity Fair. So don't tell me that she is going to stand on the banks waving her hand as the beacon for transgenders when there's a river of blood of people that die.
Okay, regardless of who the messenger is, okay, whether you like it or her not, or think that this is an authentic person or not, or her intent, she is bringing a conversation to the forefront that is helping people better understand, not you unfortunately, better understand the transgender community, have more empathy, have more tolerance, and that is saving lives. Because as she stated, there are so many transgender youths and adults that are victims of violence, that are beat up, that are bullied because of the discrimination. So thank God that now she is mainstreaming it so people can better understand it and have tolerance.
Sam, that's dead wrong. She lives in the most accepting city in the state. And go do that in Alabama. Be a hero. Be a hero.
Listen to Zoey. Listen to Zoey.
Zoey, go ahead.
Good try. You have to bifurcate it. Did she deserve the honor? Probably not. Is she brave? Of course she's brave. All those years invested as this sports legend. To come out transgender is horribly difficult. It is the most difficult thing you can do. I've been overseas. I've flown helicopter missions, surveillance missions. I've been shot, stabbed. Being brave is being yourself. And being transgender is about the bravest thing you can do. Did she deserve the award? Yes.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No, it's her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train. She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she. I just have a problem with the message and the messenger.
So well, let's. I'm going to do two things. I want to reiterate what Zoey said, which is the bifurcation of the courage to come forward after a lifetime as a male and a certain kind of a male, versus did she deserve this award? Listen, awards. What are award ceremonies except an opportunity to catch some eyes?
Especially the ESPN.
So, yeah, it's like ESPN. Well done, ABC. Yeah. They did exactly what their job was: attract eyes. They did it. That's what award ceremonies are for. But in terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that, Zoey.
Very familiar.
It's not about the chromosome. Excuse me, the chromosomes within our
both know
nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
Chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With gender
identity. Go ahead. No, so
especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you like to discuss the genetics?
No.
What are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait. To be fair, but to be fair, you're actually being rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who's biologically a male is a male. Someone who's biologically male is a male.
But Mr. Shapiro, you knew very well that saying that to Zoey would be egregiously insulting.
It's not a matter of insulting or inflammatory.
It is. No, sir, you're right. On paper, what is a fact is a fact, and I can't deny that. But you knew that going in that saying that to Zoey would be aggressively insulting.
It's not a matter of aggressively insulting.
It is.
The entire discussion is whether we are embracing mental illness and delusion as a society. That's the entire discussion.
No. But you're avoiding the fact. You're avoiding the fact. If you want to talk facts, you're avoiding the fact. You're not a dumb man. You knew that saying that to Zoey would be incredibly hurtful.
Stop it. Roll on the last word here, because you haven't had a chance. And then,
there's some very startling statistics that are out that say that 80% of us know somebody who's gay or bisexual or even transvestite or lesbian, but only 1% of us know somebody who is in transition. So this is a new discussion for us. A lot of it is very scary for a lot of people. But that's, I think, whether we agree with the whole Caitlyn transition or not, the reality is that we are in a state as humanity right now where we need to exercise a little bit more tolerance. We need to understand the things that we don't understand a bit more. Instead of making inflammatory comments, maybe we have a little bit more tolerance. That's what I think the strength
We'll keep this going. We'll keep it going, but later we're going to no aggression, no violence. We're going to Caitlyn Jenner. She was honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award last night at the ESPYs. There's speculation that the award was payback for having given Diane Sawyer her first interview with Jenner on ABC and ESPN, are part of the same corporation, of course, the Disney family. And ABC tells Los Angeles Times, quote, there is absolutely no connection between the interview and the award. There's simply no truth to that claim. Back with Sam, Rolanda, and Mike, and in the audience, Shagun, Zoey, and Ben. All right, so, Zoey, you're in that piece, you're saying it wasn't a transgender going at their own pace. It was a product rollout. What are the liabilities to the human being, Caitlyn Jenner, as a result of being a part of this product rollout?
Well, you can't sustain that type of energy. You cannot sustain that type of fame. Things shift. You have to reinvent yourself. But I think at some point this comes crashing down because along with all this, adulation and hype, eventually you find out that you're really in an existential crisis because what's my life really going to be like? Will it be... You have to deal with people like this, the hatred, the people that, that come out against you and say...
We're calling you delusional. It wasn't case. It's hatred.
Yeah, that's hatred.
Okay.
This is just somebody that's
I don't hate you. I have sympathy for you. I feel terrible for you.
No, you do hate. You're consumed with hatred. That is who you are. You're a little man.
Know me?
You're a little man. Actually, I do.
Let's stick to the topic. Let's not these first.
But I mean, that's okay. He can be whatever he wants. But the point is,
right? That's what this is all about, isn't it?
It is. It is. But there's ramifications for hate speech. But the point is that.
Ramifications?
Let me finish.
Go ahead. Finish, Zoey.
Little boy.
Zoey.
Okay.
Zoey.
So I'm sorry.
It's all everybody.
Buttons are being pushed.
Go ahead.
The whole point is that Jenner this will come crashing down.
Okay. Well, like in other reality shows, I saw a Facebook post where there was 30 reality shows that contestants or participants who had died within a year or two of their shows, and I was scrolling through that on Facebook. Something like 85% of them was suicide.
Right.
It's incredible.
It's like kind of becoming the quarterback before you've ever even played football.
Yeah.
There's a definite kind of build up to getting that type of attention.
And now this too, in the face of all these tremendous changes in who this person is and their life and their lifestyle, their family issues, all that is sort of now around this arousal of the.
Caitlin's built for it. I really do. This is let's not forget, this is a world-class athlete who's dealt with pressure her entire life, who knows how to speak to herself and pump herself up, who knows the difference between perseverance more than any other person that's a non-athlete. I think that this is her mission in life. And if I could ask you, because I'm still harping on some of the things that you mentioned earlier.
Back to Ben.
To Ben, you come from, like, in your mind, a moralist, right?
No, I come from a basic biological reality.
But, okay,
it's not a moral thing. If somebody wants to mutilate their body, that's their choice.
It's not mutilation, but can we just talk about
cutting off testicles is mutilation.
Can we talk about
That's not actually what they do, though, right?
Okay, hold on.
They go inside out.
Well, but they don't even know, most transgender don't have the genital reassignment. Most of them are not.
Okay, Ben, can I finish real quick? Because this is important.
Well, I want to let you piggyback on something. May I let you do that?
Yes, you may.
Because
my blood is boiling.
I know, and I'm going to give you a little more fuel. This is now, because Ben is part of a lot of people that have various kinds of feelings about this. This is what Zoe's talking about. Here's Peter Berg, best known for producing Friday Night Lights. He posted this picture on Instagram with the caption, quote, "One man traded 2 legs for the freedom of the other to trade 2 balls for 2 boobs.
Yeah.
Guess which man made the cover of Vanity Fair? It was praised for his courage by President Obama, and is to be honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award by ESPN." That's similar stuff you're reacting
to. First of all, of course, a wounded soldier deserves all the accolade and respect in the world. They save lives. Well, guess what? There's many different ways to save lives. I believe that Caitlyn Jenner bringing this conversation to the forefront is saving lives. And at the end of the day, can you look at the fact that more than 50% of transgender youth attempt suicide because of discrimination, because of shame? Does that try to alter the way that how you should project your thoughts? What if they're watching right now? What if there's a teen out watching right now that is struggling with who they are, living their truth?
Let's talk about some of the biological facts for 1 second.
No, I want you to answer me. What would you say to a teen right now that really believes 100%?
Allow me to answer your question.
I'm full of emotion right now because people die.
I've noticed.
Clearly, it doesn't bother you because you're sitting there stone-faced and cold-hearted.
Of course it bothers me when people commit suicide, which is one of the reasons I don't believe that transgender surgery is the solution, considering that the suicide rate after transgender surgery is precisely the same as the suicide rate before transgender
Yeah, because then technically they're not passing, and then they're open for more discrimination.
Okay. The transgender suicide rate is approximately 0.8 in every 100. The only comparable suicide rate in human history of which I am aware is Jews living under Austrian and German rule during World War II. To liken the treatment of transgenders in the United States or the Western world to Jews living under Nazi. No, I'm actually comparing apples to apples in terms of the suicide rate.
But I think if you can see what discrimination
why don't we
does,
look at actual solutions?
Why is it
then stop hating, tolerate.
It's not. I'm happy to tolerate. Whatever people want to do is what they want to do. But the idea that the surgery itself is something to be glorified, to be reveled in, the mental illness.
I think if you can bring up the difficulty that Jewish people have faced because of hatred, then why can't you, as a human, as Dr. Maya Angelou would say, that I am human, so therefore nothing human can be alien to me? Why can't you take that position and understand based upon your history?
I don't hate anybody who has a mental illness and is trying to figure out how to fix that.
Well, there might have been people who said...
I'm not going to liken the treatments of Jews under Nazis.
No, I think anytime a life is in trouble, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble.
The reason I brought that up is as a comparison of the treatments of the two and saying that the suicide rate is similar. So therefore, if the circumstances of the two are different, and the
circumstances may not be different. If you have bullying, if you have murders, there is a genocide on transgender children right now. You
I think we are missing. I think we are going so far afield. As all people, we should be for inclusion. As a black person and as a Jewish person who knows what persecution is, we should all be for inclusion. No one is saying that we should not be for inclusion. At least I'm not. What I'm saying about this award is she does not Caitlyn Jenner does not walk in the shoes of those young transgender youth because they don't have the means that she has. So when we say that she's supposed,
how she was as a teenager,
but you cannot deny the fact that she gave hope to somebody out there. They may not have the $70,000 to have the surgery. They may not have a white gown and get to walk away with an SB.
Got to wrap it there. I got to wrap it there. Ben, let me just deal with your biological question, mental illness question. Let's say that transgender is a illness. How would you? What's the goal of treatment then?
The goal of treatment would be to cure whatever.
Can't cure it. It's not curable.
Okay.
Lots of illnesses are not curable. This one has to not be curable. What's alcoholism? Alcoholism, for instance. What's the goal?
So the goal would be to allow people to live with it in an appropriate way.
To flourish, right?
To flourish.
Not to require them to assign to one gender or another, but to flourish.
Right. Without imposing on the rest of society a necessity for fictionalized thinking. Okay, because that actually is a cost to society. I'm sorry, but my grandfather was bipolar, okay?
Yeah.
And he thought that the radio was talking to him.
Yeah.
They put him in a mental hospital. They did not tell him the radio was talking to him to allow him to live a better life. They put him into a mental hospital, and then they gave him lithium, which allowed him to live a better life. Looking for better solutions than transgender surgery would be a better solution than pretending that transgender surgery is the cure for people.
People are looking for treatments all the time. This has been the one.
This is stopping the look.
No, it really isn't. But be that as it may, there's a book, the movie called Infinitely Polar Bear out there about being bipolar and how they are ostracized to this day. So